Hello and welcome to this webinar for secondary schools, which will provide some practical advice and top tips on running an effective hybrid Inset day, one which blends both in-person and online training. My name is John Rees and I'm the Senior Leadership and Governance Consultant with the National College. My background is in schools. I was a deputy head of a secondary school in the southwest. I spent 12 years at Exeter University and I've been an independent consultant for almost 20 years now. Inset days offer precious opportunities to address training priorities. So how do you make the most of them? In this webinar, I'll be discussing some of the benefits of a hybrid Inset day, that is, using blended approaches to online and offline resources to stimulate discussion and collaboration, maximise learning and target school improvement or school development areas. We'll be talking about such things as what a hybrid or blended approach to learning looks like, some practical tips on implementation, including examples using the National College platform and the benefits of a hybrid approach. So if you're ready, let's get started. Inset days have too often been involved with herding staff together into the school hall, asking them to perch on small and sometimes uncomfortable seats, and then wheeling out an expert in something or other to talk about them or talk at them for most of the day. We've now got the technology to create a far more purposeful, interactive and ultimately a more effective learning days. A hybrid training event involves viewing or listening to online resources such as courses, webinars or podcasts, and then asking colleagues to discuss together what they've watched and consider how it might be applied or how they might apply it to their setting. The discussion could be either in person or online, but the purpose is, of course, to support the development of colleagues founded on a wider school improvement agenda. Your hybrid Inset day might include online resources that you've developed for yourself. Those are being supported or developed by an external provider, such as the National College, or maybe both. Today, we'll be discussing various options open to schools with examples of how the National College CPD platform can really enrich your training. Let's have a look at some practical tips on implementation. If you haven't already done so, it's good to start with a needs assessment. This really needs to be done well in advance of your Inset day and might be informed by staff development areas prioritised in your school development or school improvement plan. Sometimes staff development might arise from the identification of a skills or knowledge gap. Although the focus is often on teaching colleagues, TAs, administrators, support staff and lunchtime assistants all need ongoing CPD, and there might be a particular need that's been identified from your data, whether that's qualitative or quantitative, or perhaps as a result of feedback from staff. A request for CPD might also have come from governors or trustees, for example, wishing to ensure that they are fulfilling their statutory responsibilities. A hybrid approach is particularly user-friendly for volunteers who can be offered the option of completing learning on or perhaps before the training day itself. I think it's also worth noting here that the National College houses the biggest collection of online CPD in the education sector, all of which is tailored by role. They've got hundreds of webinars and courses specifically for teaching staff, TAs, support staff and of course governors, and also by type of setting. Whether you're a nursery, primary school, secondary school, independent or special school, they offer CPD to meet your specific needs. So we're now going to be talking about developing strengths. When we're thinking about your needs analysis or whatever we'd like people to achieve from a blended learning session, we shouldn't only be thinking in terms of a deficit or a gap that we've identified. Part of the needs analysis might also be to identify people already pretty good at something, and we may want them to develop that skill, expertise or understanding still further, probably for the benefit of the children, or always for the benefit of the children, and possibly for their self-confidence or the leadership development of a colleague. Secondly, let's have a look at establishing outcomes for your Inset day. I think it's really important that we do have a clear rationale for the time that colleagues are going to spend training, whether online or face-to-face, and a clear set of intended outcomes. These need not necessarily be SMART targets, but colleagues should be very clear about what it is they and their colleagues should get from the sessions and how this might benefit them and their pupils. Thirdly, we're looking at selected evidence-based and trustworthy CPD. CPD should be evidence-based and credible, However, having said that, in reality, this obviously depends on being able to source relevant, high-quality training. That's where platforms like the National College really stand out amongst the rest. The training is developed by experts in the field, reflecting research evidence and best practice, and it's constantly updated, so you can be sure that the content is authoritative and current. Whilst one group of staff might need to focus on bridging a gap, others might want to enhance their skills further in a particular area. The National College, of course, offers so much variety in the CPD that it's easy to pull learning plans together in advance of the day, in line with the school development plan or your needs analysis. Of course, you can also browse the learning plans that are curated by the National College team that tailor a collection of content in relation to different topics and, of course, different roles.